Okay, today we are going to be talking about self-compassion and self-love.
But who are we?
Oh, I'm Julia and that's Sydney. I didn't know we were introducing each other.
Well, I didn't know if we were going to say, hey, welcome back to the Finding
Okay.
Balance Within podcast.
Yes.
Do you think we should?
We should say that.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready? Action.
All right. Welcome back to the Finding Balance Within podcast. I am Julia.
And I'm Sydney.
Today we are going to talk about self-compassion and the grace we sometimes don't give ourselves versus the grace we freeingly give others.
Yep. And how we're coming out from a stage of self-hatred, because I think that's something we've both leaned into pretty heavily at one point in time. So I feel like
I
it
still
plays a big role.
struggle with it quite a bit, actually, with it when it comes to myself, but Sydney has gotten a lot better about it just throughout our journey of being friends together, and it's obviously a constantly like a work in progress, but to see the growth that you have, had over time of like the self-compassion just for yourself. Because I mean, it was so easy. Like, I still do it jokingly, but like if I do something stupid, I'm like, why'd you do that, fucking dumbass? It's like,
yeah,
no, you wouldn't. I wouldn't call. I mean, maybe I'd call you a dumbass.
yeah, but lovingly.
Lovingly, but like I don't do it lovingly to myself.
No,
you
it's
know.
like,
So
yeah,
you got to look at how you speak to yourself, because I would never speak to Sydney the way I speak to myself. I would never speak to someone I strongly disliked the way I speak to myself.
no,
So
maybe I might at times.
That's
but
kind
I'm
of a
working
lie.
on that too.
That's kind of a lie. I maybe would, depending on why I didn't like you, but
Right.
that's something I could also work on.
Yeah.
But
let's also talk about. It's been a bit since we've recorded our last episode.
Yeah, life's
over
been
a month now.
Life's been a little heavy, but we're trying to get back to being more consistent. So sorry about that.
Yeah, but honestly, like, I'd be happy if we could do this every 3 to 4 weeks. Like, to be real, we have full-time jobs. We have partners that we spend time with, so it's like we can't make this a weekly thing. Even every 2 weeks is a lot. Like, just meshing our schedules and stuff.
Right.
But I'd be happy with every 3 to 4 weeks getting an upload out there. You know?
I think we should aim for that.
Yeah, but we hope you missed us. All 7 subscribers.
Yeah, heck yeah. That's awesome.
That's like 6 more than we thought we'd get. So honestly, I love it.
And the person that commented and said that like this was exactly what you needed to hear, like that made our entire freaking day.
Literally.
Month.
I screenshot it, immediately sent it to her.
Yeah, I was like,
it was just a validation that we needed. That hey, there's someone out there listening, and someone out there that this might potentially help. So we appreciate that.
That is the point of this podcast, and for us to put ourselves out there and to be vulnerable and share that with you, and for you to comment and say that this was exactly what you needed to hear was just like the cherry on top for us.
Yeah, definitely still riding that high for sure.
Yeah,
and it feels kind of weird to get back to recording, but at the same time I feel more natural this time. Like, last time I feel like I had a little more pressure about like our talking points and that type of stuff, but I'm just like, we literally decided this morning what we were going to talk about.
We're just raw dogging.
I just Snapchatted her.
We're raw dogging life.
We are. I just Snapchatted her on a walk. I love it. I just Snapchatted her when I was on my morning walk with the dogs, and I'm like, what about talking about self-compassion, versus like self-hatred? Because I think that's something we both leaned very heavily into, is the self-hatred. And honestly, I feel like it's kind of something that's sold to us by society. Like, it's sold to you as like discipline. Like, you got to have discipline for yourself, or, so it seems like
it's like that fine line of like the discipline versus like listening to yourself, like, and I feel like society has made it to the point where I even struggle with this. I will meet someone that seems like they are like super, super confident and like give no shits about what people think of them, and just like totally like living free to themselves, which is like really what I want to be. And then it almost seems like I get the like vibe of them being like, I don't want to say stuck up, right? Because that's not what I'm getting at, but
it's almost like their confidence in
their confidence, it's like egotistical, or like I don't know what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. But almost that,
like, full of themselves, because like they don't think there's anything wrong with them, and they have so much, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
But in a sense though, it's almost like I was kind of judgmental towards that for a long time too, but I think it was like almost a little jealousy. Like
Oh,
I
I'm sure
wished,
that's what it stems from, is like,
yeah,
I'm jealous that you can be that and I'm caring way too much about
right.
this
Like
or
you,
that.
wait a minute, you don't have a little inner voice in your head telling you what a piece of shit you are all the time? Because I
Yeah.
do.
Or
Like
at the same time, you probably still do, but you don't listen to it. You don't give it
the
the
energy.
energy.
Ooh,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I'm all about who I'm giving my energy to and what I give it to now. I'm very
Yeah.
conscious of that, trying to be.
Yeah. And I mean, there's energy suckers out there. There's some like hardcore energy suckers out there.
And self hatred is an energy sucker.
It is. And I have literally given it all my energy and I am taking it back.
Yeah. Yeah, we are in the process of it.
Yeah.
And I feel, see, I just feel like for myself, for a long time, I just told myself the story that, like, by being this way towards myself, I was making myself a better version. You know, like I was
You have to be
pushing
hard on
myself.
yourself and so you can grow and be better and get
Yeah.
stronger or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Or if I'm being too soft on myself, then I'm not gonna, strive to be what I know I could be or what, like, the potential out there. I just wouldn't reach it because I would just feel like I'm like coddling myself in a sense. So, like, self compassion to me was like, okay, but why don't you just suck it up and push through and see where that fucking gets you? And
Mm-hmm.
like it's taken me places, don't get me wrong. Like it's helped me on my fitness journey at times. Like it's helped me like get through school, like that type of
I think
stuff.
there's a time and place for that, and it's hard when you're starting out or learning that, like, wow, I do have an issue where I really don't give myself the grace that I give others, right? Like, ask yourself, why do I extend the grace to everybody else but not myself? Would you, like, I know for a fact I'm a very hard-headed person, and I stick up for myself when I'm being treated like shit from someone else, right? And I would never allow anyone to talk to me that way. I would either throw hands with you or I would cut you out of my life. Like, I wouldn't tolerate it. But when it comes to myself, it's just like oh, okay, well, you're just a piece of shit, or
Yeah.
you're an idiot for this, or why don't you have more money, or why don't you, it's like it's a spiral. It's kind of like a ruminating thing that I do struggle with.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of other people struggle with it. So it's finding, like you said, sometimes it serves you,
Definitely.
but then knowing the difference of like, this is kind of a healthy serving point, and
Mhm.
then this is not.
Yeah. I definitely, always had more compassion for others than I did myself, but my self-hatred did reach a point to where that inner voice did start to impact how I looked at other people. Like I started seeing other people as weak. Like I feel like I started to lose my compassion towards people because when you treat yourself a certain way, it's hard to not start to treat others that way too, to a certain extent. So like because I was so hard on myself, I think it made me more judgmental of others. And that's something that I feel like I've started to notice a difference in. As I'm kinder to myself, I give more grace to others. I don't question them as much and, oh, she's just being lazy or this or that. Like, I'm like, no, like, you don't know what's going on
Yeah,
in
and
their
the reality
life.
of it is we don't. Like, I I feel like I get small wins throughout the day because, like, it's so easy to resort back to your old ways.
Yeah.
But, like, I'll find myself, again, we know I have road rage, okay? And if you don't put your cart back, blah, 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 blah. We all know about that. But, like, driving from where I live to work, it's only about 20 to 30-minute drive, but you always have that one dumbass driver. And it's like, or when someone's going literally 65 in the fast lane and you're like, what is wrong with you? But like, I've literally caught myself being like, you know what, they could be old, they could have gotten in a car accident, they could have had like a parent that died from a car, we don't know the situation as to why they're going 65 in the fast lane. Like,
Right.
that's like kind of a silly example, but like, those are the things that I know that usually would like trigger me and piss me off and ruin my day,
Yeah.
which is dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But
like,
I can catch myself being like, relax. If it takes a little bit longer to get to work, or you have to pass them, whatever, like, it's not the end of the world. You don't know what they're going through. So like you said, like, giving yourself a little bit more compassion and grace, like, it does allow you to extend it to other people.
definitely.
Because I have found myself, the more I judge myself, the more easy it is to judge someone else.
Yeah, because it's like if I'm this mean to myself, of course, why would I be this nice to fucking strangers,
Right.
like the people who don't have to deal with myself all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like with self compassion, it was just one of those things. Like, I feel like I started to tell people, like, I would hear them, the ways that they thought about themselves or get mad at themselves for something. And it's funny because it's the way I was thinking inside too, but I could like almost have that motherly perspective of like, why would you talk to yourself like that? Like, I could have that for other people and like preach that to other people, like, don't talk to yourself like that. Like, you need to give yourself some grace and this and that. And so it's like I was preaching, but I wasn't.
Living it.
Yeah, I wasn't for sure. And it's kind of like I had to wake up to that, to where I'm like, hey, this self-hatred, this being mean to myself, like it's getting me nowhere except like deeper into a pit of despair, to where I'm just like ruminating all the time and I pretty much fucking hate myself, and I'm like, I'm stuck with myself for a long ass fucking time. So it's like, why why do I want to keep this energy towards myself? Like, I don't want to be this way to my, I don't deserve this.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like everyone, I don't want to say everyone leaves because that's very depressing, but at the end of the day, you're stuck with who you are. And
Yeah.
if you look in the mirror and you don't like the person you are, that's okay. You can change. You can make improvements and you can change and do the things that you want to do, but like taking a deep dive into like your heart and your soul and like what are your core values? What are your morals? Like why do you feel those things about you? Like do you have shame? Do you have guilt? Like taking a deeper dive into those things, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like has helped me like almost find like reasons as to why I don't give myself the love that I give other people.
Yeah.
Or that, like, and the biggest thing is like, I truly believe if you don't really love yourself, you can't really accept it completely from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on that daily because it's like, I want to feel like I love my people so hard, but I don't, I still have a little bit of that wall up to accept the love.
Yeah.
Because the part of
Definitely.
me is like, I'm not worthy of that. Or
Right.
how can you love me when I this or that, or and it's
Mm-hmm.
like again, it's not giving yourself that compassion that you give other people.
Yeah. Well, and then the energy that you give towards yourself, like you were kind of saying, that's what you're gonna accept from others
Yes, it's
too.
a reflection, and again,
So
like
it's like if you find yourself in, toxic relationships all the time, or friends that aren't being nice to you or flaky and stuff like that, it's like,
it's because you are that way to yourself.
and so you accept that.
It's like really the people in your life are literally a mirror, a direct mirror of what you're allowing. And
Mm-hmm.
this past weekend it told me it's like you will, if you're tolerating and treating yourself like this, you're going to allow this. Only when you have someone treat you like this poorly, that is when you'll have a boundary. But you will never hardly ever have a boundary if they're going to treat you the way that you're treating yourself.
Yeah,
And most people
absolutely.
don't realize that because
Yeah.
it's just a natural thing. They're like, oh, well, they're walking all over me, or oh, they flaked through, but I'm not going to call them out. It's not a big deal. It's like, yeah, sometimes stuff happens, but acknowledgement goes a huge way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like the biggest thing I've noticed with developing self compassion for myself, definitely in my fitness journey, it has had the biggest impact. I think I was always hard on myself. You got to be at the gym at this time, and you got to be there for this long, this many sets. And if you skip a day, then you're a piece of shit. And, who do you think you are? You're never going to get anywhere if you don't actually put in the work. And it's just, I like
It's
took
exhausting.
yeah, and it's like I felt like I kind of took a deep breath, and I'm just like, let's try a different route here, because one, I was still not at a point where I was physically happy with my body, and two, like I still felt like I was struggling, like eating wise and that type of stuff, to where like I wasn't even making progress. And so it's like I finally reached a point where I'm like, you know what, let's try being a little nicer to myself. Hey, you know what? Take it easy on yourself today if you're not feeling it. That's okay. You can go harder tomorrow, or you can do this or that. Like, just be easier on yourself. And I feel like over time, I got in the best shape of my life.
Yeah.
Literally. And like, I don't feel like I changed anything. If anything, I feel like my workouts started to be gentler. I wasn't doing as much cardio as I used to do in the past. I just like naturally started to not overeat like I used to in the past, because I used to like kind of binge after I would push myself so hard, because I'm like, oh, I deserve this or that. Or it was like I was emotional eating to like almost hide from myself because it was almost like self-sabotage in a little bit
I
of a
feel you
way
on
too.
that. Mm-hmm.
And then it's like I started being nicer to myself. I started doing some gratitude journaling, doing like some positive affirmations like, I am a strong woman, I am this, I am that. And then like again, my body just like I feel like I lost about 10 pounds. Like it just naturally like
It's
the
almost
stress
like
like
the
eased out of my body.
expectations that you had were weighing you down. And
Yeah.
it's like when you kind of just fully surrendered to like what is, you got what was supposed to be,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
What is supposed to be. Yeah. That felt good when I said it, but now I'm overthinking it. But yeah, I definitely feel that way for you about the gym.
Mhm.
Just because I've struggled with the like binge eating too, and then again, I'll either ruminate about it or I will beat myself up about it and be like, I shouldn't have eaten that, you fat ass, blah, blah, blah. That's gonna give me more cellulite. It's gonna, and it's like, good God, like,
Yeah.
if you want to eat this or that, whatever it may be, enjoy it, eat it, and move on. Like, you don't have to indulge. You don't have to like make yourself sick. You know what I mean? But you also don't need to deprive yourself. But you also need to think, what is gonna serve me in this moment?
Yeah.
And like
Definitely.
I need to be okay with that, especially long term.
Right.
I mean, that's a whole different topic, getting into like food and nutrition and stuff. But and like I think you being gentle on yourself with like workouts and stuff, and not like killing yourself at the gym, and not, like, she's a freaking badass that goes to the gym every morning at 4 5 a.m. and then she comes home and walks her fucking dogs. Okay.
I only
I
do like
try to
45 minutes now.
I try to work out with her or walk with her on Mondays, but guess what? I haven't done it in like 3 fucking weeks. I'm gonna get back to it. But and it's like, that's awesome. But it's like simple things every day that is making a huge change for you,
Mhm.
to where you've been a lot more comfortable and like secure in your body.
Yeah.
And you haven't like pushed yourself to the point where like exhaustion, and you're like, it's not nothing's been unhealthy, which is the best thing,
Yeah.
because then it's sustainable.
Yeah, I feel like it's quieted my mind so much because I
Yeah.
didn't realize how much of my anxiety and energy went towards negatively talking to myself. Like,
And
holy crap.
two, the thing that like I'm struggling with is like I'm trying to, like, the whole body positivity, like body dysmorphia, like, we both have struggled with that
Yeah.
greatly, and we still do.
Mhm.
Um, I'm trying to get out of the headspace of like, I hate my body, so I need to go to the gym. I hate my body, so I need to eat like this and that. I want to have the headspace. I love my body. I want to serve my body. I want to give it what it needs.
Mhm.
Every once in a while, do I want to eat like shit? Yeah, because
Do I want to eat a fucking cookie cake?
I
Yeah, I
fucking
do.
love cookie cake,
I
dude.
just had some for my birthday.
I'm jealous. Was it good?
Yeah,
What kind of icing was it?
just regular.
Like
It wasn't even the
buttercream?
whipped.
No, you like whipped
No,
over
I
butter?
like. Yeah, you don't like whipped?
I fucking love buttercream.
Oh
I
man.
would bathe in buttercream icing.
Buttercream bath.
I would never mind. I was gonna say something sexual. But anywho, comment if you'd like buttercream or whipped icing.
I like them both. I don't discriminate against icing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna fucking eat it either way.
Literally. Yeah.
I just will probably be wishing it was buttercream, but
Yeah.
that's besides the point. What was I talking about?
Oh, sorry. I distracted you with
It's okay.
dessert.
I'm not kidding you. Like, I have been really good with like not eating sugar lately, which I'm proud of because that's something I struggle with the most. But I saw a commercial with a cookie cake like 3 days ago, and it's been in my head ever since. So I'm trying to get it out, but now you just
Yeah.
popped it back in.
My bad. Maybe I manifested. Maybe you manifested it because you really wanted it. You made me
Well,
say
I'm not
it.
eating dairy right now, so it's like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
forcing me to not have cookie cake, which is
Yeah.
probably healthy for me right now.
Right.
But yeah, getting out of that headspace of like, I hate my body, so I'm gonna do this. And it's like, no, like, love your body. Like, your legs give you literally the ability to wake up and get out of bed every day. Like, changing the whole perspective of the way you look at yourself will literally just allow yourself to give yourself more compassion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's easier said than done, because there's a lot of times where I resort back to my old ways. But like having the positive affirmations, whether you write it down every day in like a gratitude journal, or you have a little magnet. Like, my dad years ago when I was a little kid made me this positive affirmation. It said like, I am strong, I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am lovable, I am disciplined. Like, those affirmations can literally be whatever you want it to be, but it has to be true to you. And you might not believe it. That's the thing that I think people think. It's like, well, I don't want to say those because I don't believe it. That's
Yeah.
fake.
I feel guilty about faking it until you make it. Like, it will become the authentic you at some point in time, but like,
And if you want it
it's
to be
hard
the
to
authentic you,
unlearn. Yeah, it's hard to unlearn.
I mean, how many years have you hated yourself? How many years have you
Said you're
disliked,
not enough,
yeah,
said you're
disliked
fat,
this?
overweight,
And
you overeat.
the thing about like the narratives that we tell ourselves is like it plays out in your entire life. Like, I'm unworthy. Okay, tell me why you're unworthy. And if I ask you this, you would literally list out all the things that make you like you feel or make you unworthy because that's what you believe about yourself. I tolerate this in a relationship. I tolerate to have the shittiest of friends. I mean,
Yeah.
it goes on and on. So yeah,
I
but
I think when I was in the process of starting to unlearn how to be so negative towards myself, I just had to keep reminding myself that um I almost like the way that I would talk to you. It was like
I
I
do
would I
remember you
wouldn't
telling me that.
yeah, like I wouldn't say that to you if you were going through this. So why would I say that to myself? I would if you overate, I wouldn't say you fat piece of shit, you're not going to ever fucking get anywhere in life because you can't quit self-sabotaging and overeating and you don't need this sugar, like you just bury your emotions. Like I would never say that to you. And so
Damn.
okay, I may not have
I
said
won't have the cookie cake.
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But no, that's very true.
No, but like that's the way that I would like internally talk to myself about it. And like I would just beat myself up for hours. And that's just it wasn't serving me. And so it was like one of those ways like I would start down that path and then I'd be like, no, like this isn't helping. Like what would I say to someone else, like a friend that was going through this, or my mom or my sister? Like what would I say to them? Because that's how I should be speaking to myself. And so it just kind of stopped the rumination of negative
It's
talk
like
in
a
myself.
feedback loop too,
Mm-hmm.
It's like again, like the things you associate with yourself is like, I'm a piece of shit. Why are you a piece of shit? Well, because I was supposed to eat a salad today, but I went in there and I ate 3 pieces of fucking cookie cake.
Yeah.
I mean, like at one point, I literally went. What did I do? I can be like a closet eater, right? And no, I'm not
Oh
gonna
yeah.
actually eat in my fucking closet because that's weird. But I would like be at a party and there would be like snacks around, right? And I didn't want anyone else to be like, "Geez, Julia, like lay off the fucking food." So I would just eat like one thing or not even eat what I was gonna eat when it comes to the sugar. And then I have literally before gone to Hy-Vee and got myself a cookie cake
Mm-hmm.
and ate it like in my bedroom by my damn self.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed every minute of it, but then afterwards, I felt like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was upset, I was disappointed in myself, like I
Mm-hmm.
was disgusted with myself, you know what I mean? Because one, I felt like I was lying to other people. I wasn't being like truthful.
Right.
It was just a whole plethora of things.
Yeah. Yeah. You're being like inauthentic
Yeah,
in
and
the
it's like
situation.
now I'm like, you know what? I might say something and be like, guys, this is my third piece of cookie cake, but I'm still gonna eat it. Like,
Right.
I want to own it now.
Well, and I think part of it is the shame. Like
Food
it's like
shame, food
it's
guilt is huge, especially with like if you have body image issues
yeah.
and it's like a bad food, it's comes with shame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like the shame that you put behind yourself is what makes you, then be inauthentic in front of others and try to hide it. And then it's like the guilt. Yeah, you shame and guilt yourself, and then it just feeds back into a cycle. But what I've also found is that if I just listen to myself and say, hey, maybe you do need a slice of cookie cake. If I listen to my body and like have it, and then I find myself not
Needing
binging on
another
it.
piece of it.
Yeah, I don't binge on it like because I'm not withholding it from
We
myself.
should do another video of like the self deprivation of like food and the scarcity
Definitely. I know
mindset
this is
of
kind of
food.
turned a little bit towards that, but I feel like that's where we've struggled with our self-hatred so much is when it comes to like diet and exercise,
Oh
the
yeah.
biggest things for
Because
sure.
we look at it, or I know, like you've changed so much, and I'm getting there, definitely getting there. I'm getting closer, but it's still the motivation, the drive to do those things, to eat healthy and all this eating healthy has definitely changed for me, but like even exercise, it is because I strongly still don't feel comfortable in the way my body physically looks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, that can be like a driving force to a degree. You don't have to love the way you look. You have to be able to appreciate what your body does for you every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being kind to yourself, like it just goes a long way. Like if I tell myself, hey, like wow, your body like looks pretty good today. Like I notice how I feel throughout the day is different. If I start my day by like looking in the mirror and judging how, oh, you could lose 5 pounds here, or look at that wrinkle there, or this or that, like that self critique, it carries throughout my energy and my confidence throughout
And
the
I think
day.
too, like I've noticed me, like if I when I fixate on those things, I when I go out in public, I literally have anxiety, like that I feel like everyone else is
Everyone's
looking at
looking
me
at.
and they're
Mhm.
noticing those dimples on my legs or those my loose skin on my arms or my massive man shoulders and like all
Yeah.
these little things and it's like no one really gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
That sounds bad, but you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like
No,
no one
it's
cares
like,
about you in the way that you're thinking that they're caring
yeah,
about you.
you
They don't
become,
you're just another person out there.
yeah, you kind of become self obsessed when you're like in a self hatred phase, as weird as it sounds, because you're always focused on what's wrong with you, what needs fixed. Like it's obsessive,
Mhm.
and you're constantly thinking about yourself. And I've kind of found that the less or the nicer I am to myself, the less I actually think about myself and worry about what others are thinking about me too.
When they're
It's like a byproduct of it.
yes, and the thing too is like everything that I know I stress about for the most part when it comes to my body is like it's all physical. It's
Hmm.
not even really internal. I mean, some of it is, but it's mostly physical. So it's just one of those things where it's like that's forever changing. Your body's gonna look different in a month.
Yeah. Well,
You
and
know,
like I said, you're stuck with yourself the rest of your life. So it's like if we are in what's probably like the best years of our life and we're already talking to ourselves like this,
what's it gonna be when I have some baby weight that I can't get off? What's it gonna
exactly.
be?
Mhm.
Am I gonna look at my kid and resent them because they gave me some extra weight on my hips and like
Yeah.
saggy boobs to my kneecaps. Like, God, I hope not. Like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna look at that kid and be grateful that I gave them life and they gave me a different perspective on life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, well, I think that's gonna cut it up.
Yep. Unfortunately, Julie's got somewhere to be, and we're trying to keep these episodes a little shorter than we did that first one. Honestly, I think we're hoping for more like the 25 to 30-minute range. But I think this is definitely going to be a multi-part situation
Yeah.
because I think there's a lot that I'd like to go into and that you'd like to go into specifically with the body image,
Mm-hmm.
um, with with the binge eating. I think that the self-compassion and self-hatred, it's going to be like a 3 or 4 part episode,
Yeah. I mean,
honestly.
there's so many things just from listening to the video. There's so many things that you can subgroup.
Yeah, and I definitely want us to also, um, in our next episode, focus more on ways that we are working on combating it. That way,
I
we
know.
can
I feel
share
like
some
all
of
we've been
those.
saying is we feel like we're powerless shits,
Yeah, literally.
but we're
But
not.
yeah, but just know that if you feel the same way, like you're not alone. There's plenty of other people that struggle with that too, and I hope this just gives you a reminder to give yourself a little more grace because that's gonna get you a lot further than the self hatred.
Mm-hmm. And do comment what you liked about this video, even if what you didn't dislike or what you did dislike, and then
Hmm.
any ideas that you'd want to hear from us
Yeah,
too, because
yeah.
we're
For any
open. Yeah,
questions,
any questions? We're open to feedback. We're open to other ideas that something that you might struggle with that you'd like maybe more light touched on a topic. So
definitely.
do that, and yeah,
We
we
hope you have a great week.
hope it reaches who it needs to reach.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Bye.